I am gonna make this short and sweet.
That's what she said.
I'm Owex Solo, and I'm a dude. Period. End of sentence. When Arnie and Apollo shook hands in Predator, I'm the love child of that homoerotic moment. You remember when that pro wrestler called Thor an angel god? That's what I look like, only slightly taller. Now, I spent the last 20 years doing 12-ounce curls, hitting on babes like your mom, and watching badass movies like Fast and the Furious and the Transformers.
Enemy screwed him.
So when I tell you that Owex Solo knows what he's talking about when it comes to being a man, you know I'm telling the truth. So let me give you a little backstory. This chick's moving her things out of my trailer the other day, talking trash about how I should get a job, yada yada, classic BS that they always give you when they're leaving. And I said to her, hey, talk to the hand. You know, I bust out a classic Arnie one-liner. And she flips me off and yells back, hey, douchebag, Terminator 3 sucks. Yeah, I know, right? Clearly just throwing stuff out to hurt me, no matter how untrue it is. And she tells me, hey, check out this website called YouTube on the internet. And I tells her, hey, I don't even wear glasses, let alone surf the internet. I surf like this dude, you know, pointing to my Swayze poster. Not like this dude. I mean, maybe if there's like naked girls on there or like an adult movie section like the old video stores. You remember that? What the hell's that sound?
3 hours later.
Yeah, well, turns out I might have been slightly wrong about the internet. So I got me an awesome new computer, and I was able to rustle up a couple of these bad boys. And then I got the landlord to hook me up with the Wi-Fi password. And after I used a couple of these free disk trials to confirm that there is in fact an adult section on the internet, you know, research purposes, that type of stuff, I decided to heed the ex's advice and check out some reviews of the all-time classics, you know, Indiana Jones 2, Superman 3, Jaws 4, Batman Forever with Jim Carrey, you know, movies that have been heralded as classics since the day I first saw them. Tough guy movies that'll put hair on your chest like Masters of the Universe and Top Gun. You guys know what I'm talking about. Well, imagine my surprise when I find out that a bunch of internet rebels think that they're clever by talking trash about our beloved classics. Like, for example, this is a deep cut, but had you heard that there's a group of people out there that actually hate The Phantom Menace, you know, Star Wars Episode 4? It's true. They say it's boring and racist. Now, I thought that was the point of all Star Wars movies.
Hey, we don't serve their kind here.
No, I'm sorry, internet, but that's the last straw. I just spent another 3 hours watching the internet turn my movies into Ving Rhames and Pulp Fiction, and not in a good way. So it's time for the Oxman to quote the great Steiner and tell you I'm about to kick your medieval ass. Because clearly there seems to be some disconnect with this information super freeway. Because what some of you people are saying about my favorite movies makes no sense whatsoever. Well, that does it. If you guys are keyboard critics, you can consider Owex Solo the world's very first keyboard warrior. And you'll make sure you put that in all caps on the screen so they know I'm serious, and like all caps and like echoing. Yeah, alright, cool. Join me as I break it down for all the edgy little genzers and explain to them exactly how they've been duped by a bunch of self-hating millennials that desperately want to fit in by talking trash about all the things they grew up with. It is such a desperate ploy to get younger viewers. Now sit back and enjoy my quickly edited angry rant filled with buzzwords and pop culture references in a show that I like to call
That movie.
Stupid. Great flick! Great friggin' flick! Eat shit.
Now to start with, we're gonna surprisingly talk about one of the greatest shark movies ever made, Jaws 4, officially known as Jaws the Revenge. And I can already hear the jokes being made, oh, Jaws the Revenge? Oh, what, the shark is getting revenge now? Ha ha ha, that's so funny I forgot to laugh. Actually, yes, Sporto, the shark is getting revenge. I get the feeling a lot of you didn't even watch the third one, since I see that it also is suddenly hated as well. So what happened in Jaws 3? They killed the baby shark and the mama shark.
Like an asshole.
That's what makes it personal in Jaws 4. Okay, seriously, do you people even know what a sequel is? It seems like some of you need a breakdown of the larger story of the Jaws quadrilogy, so here it is. Now, it's really simple if you're not a stupid idiot.
You dumb bastard.
Truth bomb incoming that your parents never told you because they wanted you to like them and think they were cool. But all the sharks from the Jaws movies are related, hence the numbering. Jaws, Jaws 2, Jaws 3, and then Jaws the Revenge. What do you need it spelled out for you? The shark from part 1, blown up by badass Brody. That shark is the dad of the shark in part 2.
Electrocuted by badass Brody.
That shark from part 2 had a wife and several kids. That wife and one of their kids were the ones killed in SeaWorld in Jaws 3.
Blown up by sweaty Brody.
That is gross!
Now this is all explained in Quint's Indianapolis speech in part 1. Which brings us to part 4, because after half of his family was killed, Clark the shark, you know, the ostracized rebel without a claws shark that had grown up distant from the family after they couldn't accept that he wanted to be an opera singer and not just a man-eating beast, returns to Amity and finds out what has happened in the previous 3 movies, and he freaks the fuck out, and he eats Brody's youngest son, that little effer Sean.
Cry me a river, dickface.
Killed by Rebel Shark.
But when Clark the Shark learns that Ellen Brody is literally forgetting her sorrows to take a vacation in the Bahamas with Michael Caine, Clark the Shark is like, oh really? And he turns to his wife and his kids and he's like, honey, get in the van. We're going to the Bahamas. And she's like, Clark, we're leaving you. We're tired of all the family vacations you take us on. And there's this brutal ass fight. And Clark the Shark rips open her stomach and eats the babies that were developing inside of her. Now there will be no more vacations. Now this is personal. Of course, this deleted scene was cut by the MPA because it was the 80s, but that is legit footage you are seeing. You can tell by the VCR tracking lines. So the newly widowed shark makes his way to the Bahamas, where he first comes across Mario Van Peebles and his fantastic dreadlocks, and he's like, yo, these are my people. I am home. But then he notices Brody in the boat above, who, by the way, is now a marine biologist after being a sweaty welder in part 3. His bitchy wife is now a sweaty welder instead of a marine biologist, making 5th grade sculptures and wondering why people don't think it's amazing. Anyway, so Clark the Shark spots Brody and he's like, I love mama! Now it is personal. But of course Brody doesn't take the hint and decides to actually get in the water with a 35-foot shark. And Clark the Shark tries to eat him, but of course as a fully trained opera singer instead of a man-eating shark, he totally fails at that. So Clark misses out on some of that sweet, juicy Brody meat, and he starts thinking to himself, you know what? I should go eat Brody's kid, since ipso facto, I want double revenge for him making me kill my family in the name of sacrifice for the vengeance of my beloved Grandpa Bruce. That would also punish the Brodys, making them want revenge on me, and maybe they bring that sweet honky meat down to me. This is so personal. So he spots Brody's kid on a banana boat, and in true I'm only the 4th best shark in this franchise fashion, he eats this lady instead of eating the annoying kid or the freaking banana boat.
What an asshole.
So he sinks off like he needs a nap, and suddenly Grandma Brody is like, oh no you're not. I suddenly know how to sail and hunt sharks. So she steals Rasta Van Peebles' boat and sails off as easy as all that, because now it's personal. So later on, Mike's annoying wife gets mad at him for not telling her that there are sharks in the effing ocean.
Why didn't you tell us?
And after he hears what happened, Mike Brody is like, no one attacks the lady that I was secretly banging on the side because my wife is extremely annoying. Now it's personal. And so he calls out for Rostam and he's like, yo, my mama stole your boat. And MVP is all like, what? Now it's personal. So they try to use this dinky ass fishing boat because that would be way easier and way faster than asking anyone else on the island if they could borrow their boat. And so they come up on Michael Caine, and Michael Caine is all like, hey, remember how I have a plane? And they're like, sick, that shark called your mama a hoe. And Michael Caine is all like, what? Now it's personal. So personal, in fact, that when they find Grandma Brody and the shark comparing dentures, Michael Caine just lands the plane in the middle of the ocean like an asshole. So after the plane, of course, sinks to the bottom of the ocean, somehow all 3 of them manage to survive and make it back to the boat. And even though the shark hasn't done shit to Rasta Van Peebles, Mario Van Dread still rigs up a device to help shock the hell out of Clark the Shark, taking the side of the Brodys who, come on, let's be honest, have always kind of been annoying.
I got hit by a vampire.
Sean, catch the rope! The rope, Sean! Come on!
Nice boots.
Thanks.
Yeah, there we go.
I can't even believe I did that.
I take out the garbage because. Good, I'm glad we got that straightened out.
Except for Proper Brody, of course. That guy oozes macho cheese every moment he is on screen without exception. So Mario Van Peebles goes all solo and jams the little video game thing down the shark's throat, and Clark the Shark is like, "What the hell, man? I did nothing to you."
That's wrong, he did nothing to you.
Now it's even more personal. And he chomps down on Rasta Dude, but only enough to prove a point. He's like, "Hey, I could bite you in half right now, but this movie ain't about a body count. It's about finishing things with the annoying ass Brodies." And Rasta Van Peebles survives, at least in the VHS tape I got. But apparently there are some versions out there, like the theatrical cut where he dies. You think I would waste $4 in 1980s money to go see this epic masterpiece when Three Men and a Baby was dominating the box office? Hell no.
Do-do-de-o-do. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go.
That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
So Mike Brody goes back to his last Starfighter roots and he starts working his little video game. And as promised, it shocks the hell out of Clark the Shark, but something magical happens. Clark the Shark suddenly realizes his dreams have come true. He can sing. And his voice is marvelous. He shows the Brodies his singing voice, figuring surely they will understand that now that he can sing, he has no need for vengeance, and he can now fill the world with the beautiful and happy.
You fucked him up for life, eh? He's scarred.
And that's pretty much it, because that's how all Jaws movies end. Because as pointed out, all the Jaws movies are connected, and they are about the titular heroes, the Jaws family, fighting against the admittedly ruggedly handsome, yet still very much the villain, Chief Brody and his annoying fucking family. And if you people hadn't shit all over Jaws the Revenge, aka Jaws 4, just because you didn't understand it, then we could have been knee deep in the Jaws franchise right now, with at least 19 entries confirmed. Who knows what they were going to do after 2015. But instead, you let the best scripts of them all be sold off to make Finding Nemo and Sharknado movies. I hope you're all proud of yourself.